Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the live show. Yes, we are back. Last week we did a special May 4th kind of wrap up thing. That was fun. It was fun. We had a good time talking about Phantom Menace and everything. But before we dive into all of that fun stuff, joining me again, welcome back, Matt.
Happy to
Matt,
be here. I can't stay away.
I know. I mean, I you've also been at your ski chalet for quite a bit.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
needed a change of scenery, so I've got the barn doors in the back now.
Oh,
So
okay.
going from the ski chalet to the I don't know what you'd even call that. Amish
Um
barn? Something?
barn, just a
Yeah,
barn.
just the
Just
barn.
barn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's great to have you back, sir. I know it's been a while. We've both been pretty busy, to say the least. You're doing your costuming thing and everything. Um, and your armory builds.
Yes.
I'm not,
I mean it's
not,
it's costuming. I,
yeah,
I joke with I joke with people that historical reenactment is just LARP with extra steps, you know?
it is.
And
It is.
anybody that tries to tell you otherwise is taking themselves too seriously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, no, I totally get it. I totally get it. And you know what? As long as you enjoy it, that's all that matters. That's all
exactly.
that matters. Yeah, Matt, welcome back. Yeah, we are going to be talking some a little bit of news tonight, and then we're also going to be diving into the Bad Batch, talking about the series as a whole. We're also going to talk about the finale and
It was
everything.
good.
Yes,
It was
it
so good.
was. It was. But first, Matt, how was your May 4th?
It was um not as eventful as I would have liked it to be.
Hmm.
I wasn't really thinking because like I had a bunch of other plates I was spinning,
Yeah.
but I'm starting to look now for, like a Kylo Ren style lightsaber but
Yeah.
with like a purple blade because that would go
Okay.
fantastic with my Byzantine kit for next year's May the 4th.
Nice.
So,
Um.
I recycled an old like lightsaber dueling video for it,
Mhm.
and I missed it actually. I put it on Revenge of the Fifth, but it still worked out.
Hey, it's Revenge of the Fifth and Revenge of the Sixth.
Mm,
Like we
yes,
get two of them now.
right.
Um. Yeah. So, going to the crossguard lightsaber. The High Republic has a bunch of them, so you might want to
Really,
check those out.
is the
Uh.
High Republic the as in the genre, or is there a store called the High Republic?
No, it's the genre.
Okay,
Sorry. I
so
apologize.
there is a High Republic lightsaber that I have looked at. That's got the
Yeah.
kind of it's like the cross guard, but then it's got the kind of the little wings under
That's the
the
Stellan
lightsaber
Geos
blade.
one. Mhm.
I looked at that and I was just like, I don't care if it's buku bucks. I have to have it.
I My wife got me a 3D printed one for
Oh, really?
Christmas. Yeah.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to freak out the cat. But yeah,
Good.
this is
Just
the Stellan hilt. Yeah, that she got me for Christmas. Yeah, I'm telling you, dude, read this
yeah.
stuff. Read this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. Um,
Yeah. No. Yeah.
yeah,
No kidding. Because like that blade style
yeah.
is just
Oh
chef's
yeah.
kiss.
Well, and like a lot of this was actually inspired by like the old Knights Round Table and all
Right.
that fun stuff
Right.
too. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm definitely getting kind of an eagle vibe from the cross guard there, and
yeah.
it's cool. I dig it because
Sorry, I made pickle move. Uh, yeah. But no, yeah. Like that's like a lot of the influence there. So,
yeah. No, for
um,
sure.
yeah. Or just go to Disney and build yourself a purple lightsaber.
Yeah, I know, right? So the
I did.
PTO at work is a little tight this year. So
Uh,
my PTO pool is split between Dragon Con and
uh,
then there's a LARP I'm going to at the end of the month.
Yeah.
that is going to be, each one of those is going to be about like 4 or 5 days each.
Real quick, actually, I wanted to jump into this because it's part of our announcements. Are you doing shore leave in July?
Yes, I will be
Okay.
there.
So will we. We
Mhm.
we got invited back for press, so
Nice.
yeah, we'll be hanging out all weekend, bro.
That's going to happen. My
Yeah,
boys
yeah.
and I have a kind of a Monty Python themed skit in
Yes.
mind for the masquerade. I don't remember if it was explicitly Monty Python. No, it was I think it was History of Everything,
It was
History
history
of the
of the
world.
world,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I
The
think you were the
flank.
one. Were you the one that told me about the flanking
Uh,
skit?
no, we talked about it because
Hmm.
you and my wife were actually in the same room at
Right,
Masquerade 101,
right.
and, you guys were talking to the MC about the masquerade, and she was the one that
Yeah, yeah,
actually
yeah.
came up with the idea for the flanking,
Mm.
so,
That
yeah.
that was a fun masquerade. Alex just cleaned that place
Oh
out.
my god. Yeah, if you don't know Alex Bowman, her costumes were amazing. She cleaned up
Incredible.
at that masquerade.
Yeah.
Absolutely cleaned up at that masquerade.
I was
Um,
joking with her. She was going to need an extra set of arms to take all the trophies home.
oh, I
They
know.
were all well deserved,
Oh,
but
they were.
it was cool to see.
Yeah. And like your costume was great too. I mean,
Thank you.
almost all of the costumes were fantastic in that masquerade. Actually, I should say all of the costumes were fantastic because, I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if you're, hey, Amanda, it doesn't matter if you're a novice or an expert costumer. Just the amount of love and care that goes
Hmm.
into the Farpoint Masquerade, even the Shore Leave Masquerade. It's just awesome. So I still loved Deadpool Warhammer. That was really funny.
That guy was great.
Yeah,
Admiral Snack Bar.
Admiral Snack Bar,
And,
yes.
and and the fact that that was an older cosplay with a woman that was camped out for the original Star Wars was just, I love
Yeah,
it.
that's awesome. Yeah, it was a really fun time. So Short Leave
Mhm.
is coming up in July. That is July God, let me see. Yes, July 26th through the 28th, and we have tons of amazing celebrity guests. If you're a Stargate fan, you've got Amanda Tapping and Terrell Rothery. If you're a fan of Lucifer, DB Woodside and Leslie Ann Brandt. If you're a Star Trek fan, you've got Robin Curtis from the original movies, Barbara Luna from the original series, Ashley Sharp Chestnut from Star Trek Picard, uh, Adele Simmons, who's the first assistant director on Voyager, and you've got Todd Stashwick from Star Trek Picard, who's awesome. And then we have two Star Wars guests, actually. We have Ingvalid uh, Delia, who was the stand in for Princess Leia in Rogue One. And then we have Greg Grunberg, who played Snap Wexley in the sequel trilogy, who was one of the X Wing pilots. Um, and he may or may not have died in Rise of Skywalker. That's all I'm going to say. Right before his stepdad shows up, by the way. Right before his stepdad shows up.
Yeah. If you go to shore leave, be prepared for the guests to be right there.
Yeah.
And if you're not used to that at small cons, it can be a little jarring
Yeah.
because I was
Hmm.
at shore leave 2023,
Yeah.
and having Aaron Douglas right there,
Yep.
or and
Grace
Grace
Park.
Grace Park,
Yeah.
my brain just went and locked up. I was just like,
Yeah.
and but it was, so it's really an incredible experience, but
Yeah.
it's different because like the big cons have those huge lines, you have to
Oh, yeah.
pay, and the smaller ones, it's like they're just right there. Go talk
Oh,
to them,
yeah.
you know?
And that was really cool because I was at shore leave last year also, and that was when they had Penny Johnson Gerald and Peter Macon from the Orville there, and just getting to just walk up to their table and talk to them for like 5 minutes. And the great thing about these cons is they don't pressure you to buy autographs. Like they just
Hmm.
want to talk to you.
Yes.
the fans. Of course, they want to make a little bit of money on their autographs, but for the most part, they're there to interact with you. A lot of these people that come to these conventions are just there just to see what the communities are like and just to be with their people. Because let's face it, a lot of these actors are nerds.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
100%.
I mean,
And
Todd's.
the
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and the small cons are a lot of times really their only chance to
Yeah.
kind of disconnect from being mobbed by the masses and be
Hmm.
amongst, you know, kind of
Oh yeah.
basically as close to normalcy as someone of their status can really hope to
Oh
get.
yeah. I will say this. I keep going back to Farpoint, but that was one of my favorite fan experiences with Tawny Newsome and Jay Lee and Cal Dodd. Like,
Mhm.
oh, I mean, Wolverine. Like, come
Right.
on, dude.
I think
Like,
did I
the
tell you
Wolverine.
my interaction with Tawny Newsome when I had her sign the shield that I had?
No, what was it? This is
So,
good if
but
you're laughing like that.
those of you that don't know me, I am a notorious punster. I already torture Eric regularly at the Discord chat. It's great. So Tawny Newsome I asked her to sign my shield. I had so those of you who don't know me, I make shields. That's my thing. I had a Celtic shield on me, and I had some kind of a Celtic inscription on the back. So I
Hmm.
had her sign it, and she was asking, "Oh, well, what does it say on the back?" I said, "Oh, well, it's Gaulish for I pray for victory." She was jokingly, mind you, but she was like, "I'm terrified," and I couldn't help myself. It just slipped out. I was just like, "Hi, terrified. I'm Matt." and she
You
just
would
like,
do that. You
and,
would do that.
and she just kind of did like the humorous side eye, but like really kind of.
Yeah.
I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, she's great.
She
She's
is. She's cool.
she's so great. But that's a
Hmm.
great story, dude. That is so funny.
It's a memorable one. It's fun.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So yes, Shore Leave is coming up July 26th through the 28th. If you can make it, we would love to hang out with you all that weekend. It's up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania this year because our old stomping grounds of the Hunt Valley Hotel closed down. It's sad. I drove by it the other day. I took my wife to
Hmm.
work and drove by it the other day, and I was just like, "Oh man, it's so sad looking now." Like,
Yeah.
I just wish
Yeah.
it had held on just a little bit longer.
It was Balticon used to be hosted there, and that
Yeah,
was my home con when I was in college up until like 2015, because it eventually moved downtown to Baltimore in
yeah,
2016.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
So let's get into a little bit of news here, and then we are gonna hop into the dad batch. Um, real quick, got some Star Wars stuff to show off here a little bit. A couple of late Disney Store May 4th haul. I
Nice.
have one thing from Galaxy's Edge, and then my wife wanted me to showcase these new Disney Doorables that just came out for Star Wars. They're these little minifigures. So there's Mando.
That's awesome.
Actually, there we go. There's Mando. And then of course you can't have the father without the child. So of course there he is with his little ball,
They remembered the ball. That's
his,
amazing.
his little steering wheel,
Yeah.
his little steering ball. Next up, Jabba, which I really wish like they had put a little Salacious Crumb on his tail.
Hmm.
Like that would have been pretty funny.
That would have been
Um,
fantastic.
yeah, and then this is actually my favorite of the set. It's a Jawa. I
Uh,
love Jawas,
that
and
that one's
this
my
is
favorite too.
adorable.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is yeah, it is adorable. Haha, puns. Ha.
yeah.
Oh God, Matt's rubbing off on me. No. Um, so we got some stuff from Shop Disney. They had some Galaxy's Edge wishables come out, and one of them is Ray
Oh,
from
cool.
Galaxy's Edge. Yeah, with a novel length tag.
She has a CVS receipt.
Yeah, she has a CVS receipt. Yeah, so there's that. Then my wife ended up getting two pins. She got the Phantom Menace 25th anniversary pin,
Oh,
which is
cool.
pretty cool. Which I got to see the re-release in theaters. It was amazing. It's oh, dude, it still holds up so well 25 years later.
Yeah,
And then there's this R2 pin. It says "May the Fourth be with you."
that's amazing.
Um, then my wife got this tie-dye Darth Maul T-shirt.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's like the '90s tie-dye Darth Maul shirt. And then she got this Phantom Menace 25th anniversary hoodie. And there's that.
Was the Phantom Menace only playing down in Disney or something? Or was that
No,
playing
no, no,
across?
no, no. It was playing across the nation. It's still there. It's still in theaters right now,
Oh, it
actually.
is. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I'm gonna
Oh,
go see that.
yeah. And that's the back.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. It's the lightsabers with Kenobi and Maul. So there's that. And then for Star Wars Day down at Galaxy's Edge, they released a new creature for the creature stall. You remember Attack of the Clones, right?
I do.
Remember the cat that attacks them in the arena?
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, and it opens its mouth.
I love it. That's amazing. You should just do the rest of the live like that and just like have the cat mouthing what you're saying.
So Matt, I really like the Bad Batch. It was great.
That could be a YouTube short right there.
My jaw was like this. My jaw was like this the whole time.
I'm no
That's the
good.
show right there. That's the show. That's our
Just
Bad Batch
cut
recap
the
right there.
cut to the directed by Alan B. Wide credits.
Yeah.
Or no, is it Roger? Roger, whatever.
Yeah.
You know which credit. Y'all know which credits I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Hey Matt, ask me what time it is.
What time is it?
It's 8:17. Do you know where your kids are?
See, I thought you were gonna tell me time to get a watch, but nobody uses watches anymore.
Speaking of watches, my Apple Watch is on the crap again. And then it has the tail and everything too. This does make sound, but we did turn it off because
Mhm.
yeah. But if you pet it, it actually starts purring.
That is amazing.
Oh,
That
that's funny. If you leave it alone, it starts to make angry noises after a while too.
so it's a cat.
It is a cat. But it's a cat. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah, it's a feline. It says it on the tag. And then I got something pretty cool. This was the Starbucks tumbler.
mm.
It's a Hoth Starbucks tumbler.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. So if I just want to think about the Empire spanking the rebels,
Yeah, right.
and then one last thing. Uh, went to Walmart yesterday and found this Boba Fett Black Series for $5.16.
That is
Uh,
that is magnificent.
yes, yeah, love it, love it. Also, I know I have Young Jedi Adventures friends or fans in here, and there's this little cute character in the show, played by our favorite voice actor who played all of the clones in the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch, D. Bradley Baker, and he was also Perry the Platypus in Phineas and Ferb,
Wait a
which
minute. Oh, what is? Oh no, no, the guy that voices Doofenshmirtz is
Dan
Dan
Dan Pavenmeyer, yeah.
Havenmeyer. Yeah,
Here's Nubs with his little speeder bike.
yeah. I love it.
Nubs, yes, I love Nubs. I want to get all four though.
Mhm.
Like I want to get all four.
Yeah.
Um, and then I almost picked up I almost picked up the entire play sets for like $50 because they had the Crimson Firehawk play set, and then they had the
Mm.
Temple play set, and then they had Kai in his Vector.
Mhm.
And I love Jedi Vectors. They're like my
Yeah.
favorite starships. Because this is High Republic era in its glory, dude. This is High
Mhm.
Republic.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Um, yeah. So let's get into a little bit of Disney Parks news, and then we're going to get into a little bit of Star Wars news, and then we'll dive into Dad Batch. This week was halfway to Halloween, the halfway to Halloween celebration that Disney put on, and we did get some announcements for Disney Halloween stuff at both the Walt Disney World Resort and Disneyland Resort. Disneyland, you are getting Oogie Boogie Bash starting let me see here. It is August. Yes, it's August 25th and it runs through October 31st. That's at Disney's California Adventure. That is an after hours event. And you can get tickets for that now.
Ooh, that does look cool.
Yes. Oogie Boogie Bash is pretty cool. And then there's Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. That's at Walt Disney World Resort at Magic Kingdom. We booked another trip so that we could do this. come, come September. And we're really excited. The hotel we got it for essentially a steal for what it was for
Mhm.
for the hotel. So and Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party runs a lot earlier. It's August 9th through the 31st. Yes, we celebrate Halloween early in Florida. That's all I'm going to say about that. We went to the first party of the season a couple of years ago. It was so freaking hot, dude. It was so freaking hot.
I can only
Um,
imagine.
but it was a lot of fun. We cleared like 2 pounds of candy each. Um, with the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, you will be able to trick or treat, which you can clear a bunch of candy. You can meet Bruno in Fantasy Garden. Yes, Bruno and Mirabelle will actually be there. So you can meet them. You can meet a bunch of the villains, and you can start. you can you can attend the Descendants party, inspired by the upcoming Disney Plus movie Descendants: The Rise of Red. So, yes, you can dance to the Descendants soundtrack.
I love that the title of it is Descendants. That
Yes,
just makes my heart happy.
because of puns. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So you
Uh,
understand.
yeah, yeah. And then Disney Cruise Line is also doing Halloween on the High Seas. That is coming up. And we cannot forget that during the Boo to You parade, we are still going to have we're going to have Minnie, Daisy, and Clarabelle dressed as the Sanderson sisters again. And then they also have the Hocus Pocus Villains Spelltacular, which is pretty cool because you get to see Dr. Facilier.
Mhm.
And then they have a bunch of Halloween merch. So, yeah, halfway to Halloween did just start. So get ready for Disney's Halloween stuff coming up. We're gonna be giving you some when we go. We'll take some photos and some videos and stuff like that. Maybe try to do a live stream if the Wi-Fi works. Uh, and then
Yeah.
yes, and then we've got a new thing here, sticking to Walt Disney World. Disney's Polynesian Resort has a brand new tower that is coming in December of this year. I saw. Okay, Disney, I love you guys, I really do. Um, but we saw this thing being built when we were down there in March, and it's kind of an eyesore. Um, I mean, I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt, right? Like, you got to give it the benefit of the doubt. It's called Island Tower, and this is going to be the vacation club uh, place for Disney's Polynesian Resort.
I
I
haven't
mean,
seen it yet.
it looks pretty cool from the concept art and everything. So June 4th, DVC members can start making early rental reservations. June 5th, annual pass holders can start booking. And then June 6th, everybody else,
Mm.
the plebes, can start
Us working
can
stiffs.
start book. Yeah, yes, us working stiffs that can never afford to even set foot in there.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, we can afford to set foot in there, but we just can't stay there. Uh,
if
like,
I if I scrape and save and work really hard, I could afford the lift to the
yeah,
to the
yeah,
resort.
yeah, there we go. Well, I gotta tell you, like, if you want to go, like right now, they actually have a pretty decent deal on hotels. And it's like up to 30% off on select hotels. And then I
Mm.
believe like the moderates were like 20, I think, and then like the values were like 10 to 15 or something like that. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah, that's not bad. I
Yeah,
imagine I imagine once I get to the family stage, that'll Disney trips will definitely be a thing that happens. You know,
dude, you'll love
that's
them.
because it's Disney.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, even as an adult, dude, you appreciate it so much. Like
Mhm.
as an
Oh
adult.
yeah.
It's
Oh yeah.
great. So yeah, that's what's going on. Let's see here. Now to Star Wars news. We did get a brand new poster for the Acolyte. We talked about that last week. It looks beautiful and wonderful. Just take a look at it when you get the chance. The Acolyte's going to be awesome, dude. Like the Acolyte is just going to be so badass.
Is that the one about Morgan Elspeth, or is that something
No,
different?
no. So Morgan Elsbeth was in Tales of the Empire, the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
animated thing that just hit May 4th.
Right.
And then she was in the Ahsoka show as well.
Well, I'm looking
Um,
at the trailer or the posters. These two look really cool.
yeah, the Acolyte is late High Republic era actually. So
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome. Um, I do suggest reading the books, but I really think that they're going to really just allow it to be accessible to people that didn't read the High Republic. Yeah, my wife just said she's never read the books. She thinks she'll be fine. And I think you're right. Like Star Wars does a great job of explaining things to people that like didn't really see subsequent material or didn't really read the books. Like they do a pretty good job of explaining stuff, especially in new canon. Um, so we have that. Uh, Star Wars is coming to Fall Guys. You can get Star Wars skins for your Fall Guys people. Uh, Fall Guys is a party game. Then you've also got Star Wars is now in Fortnite because of Disney's partnership with Epic.
I'm surprised it took them this long.
I mean, they had some stuff,
Mm,
especially like right before Rise of Skywalker. But yeah, like now they're going all in. And then
yeah.
I gotta talk about this thing. we have this we have this Lego special coming out in September, and it's called Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy. And it's pretty much like a Lego Star Wars What If.
Are we talking
And
like Total War Lego Star Wars edition or something?
this is no, this is like a what if, kind of like what they did like the
Mhm.
Marvel What If, right? Um, we get Darth Jar Jar at the end of this trailer, and Ahmed Best actually comes back to do the voice of Darth Jar Jar, and it's amazing because he has like this little thing. He comes down the ramp of the Falcon. Somehow Darth Jar Jar has the Falcon in this thing, which made me just so happy to begin with. He comes walking down the ramp, and then
Mhm.
he lights his lightsaber, and he says, "Misa gonna hurt you, sir." And that's like the only
Yes.
line he says in the trailer. And I just went, "Yes, I'm
I
here
because
for this."
Because I remember watching a video like when the Darth Jar Jar conspiracies were first going around, and I was just like, "This is incredible. I wish
Yeah,
they'd actually done it." You know?
it it makes perfect sense
Mhm.
for Jar Jar to be the one pulling the strings.
Oh yeah, yeah, 100%. You know?
Yeah,
And
because
you
yeah,
could just say that he was like a force sensitive Gungan possessed by Darth Plagueis the Wise after he was killed by Palpatine. There we go.
it was
You know?
so funny though. Like he just comes walking down the ramp and he goes, "Misa gonna hurt you, sir." It's just like yes.
I haven't watched this trailer yet. I'm gonna need to watch it after this live.
It's like
That's
it's like
amazing.
it's like a minute long, but it's great. And like Bobby Moynihan is in it also. Like
Mm,
uh it's so stupid and I love it.
I'm
Um
here for it.
I
That's amazing.
if you haven't watched the other Lego specials that they've done, you should because they're so much fun. Um the Lego summer vacation one is actually one of my favorites because they actually brought Weird Al in to sing a song called Scarif Beach Party. It's great. It's great, Matt. It's great. Like I just have a feeling like you're just gonna pop on Disney Plus and just watch these specials now.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to tell myself that I'm going to hit the workshop after we get off here, but I'm gonna spend the rest of the night watching Disney Plus. I'm not kidding myself.
Yes. There you go. So speaking of Darth Jar Jar, and Disney Plus, it has actually been revealed that The Phantom Menace is the most watched Star Wars movie on Disney Plus. Um, I love. I mean,
I love
we
it too.
talked about the prequels, man, and
Yes.
how much we love these movies.
Mhm.
Um, and like how much like they just influenced us as kids and like shaped our childhood really. And regardless of how you feel about the sequels or the prequels or the original trilogy, um it's a generational thing. And for us, there's just something special about it. There's just something special about those movies.
I remember being obsessed with the yeah, Duel of
Dual
the Fates,
Oh
and
yeah.
not as a 9-year-old kid, not knowing what it was called,
Yeah.
kind of like replaying it in my head because
Hmm.
I couldn't remember the name of it, and of course,
Yeah.
it was dial-up internet back in the day. You
Oh
couldn't find
yeah.
that stuff.
Oh,
So, you know,
um so I will say this, if you ever get the chance, watch Dave Filoni talk about Duel of the Fates. It is
okay.
so damn good, like the way he just talks about it.
Oh, are you talking about the thing where it's like it is a duel for the fate of Anakin Skywalker, and like
Yes,
that's the
yes,
premise?
yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen that, and it's just like because at first I thought it was just a cool sounding name for a cool sounding song, but
Hmm.
hearing that is just like whoa, you
And it
know?
it makes sense because if Qui-Gon wins, Anakin doesn't go bad.
Mm-hmm.
But because Qui-Gon lost,
Right.
that sets Anakin on the path.
Mm-hmm. Because
Um,
Obi-Wan was good, but he wasn't a master at that point. There was only
yeah,
so much he could teach Anakin, you know?
yeah, yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, and then one last thing here. I just had it. Oh, I just had this. Oh, yes, I got it now. According to Deadline and the Hollywood Reporter, Sigourney Weaver is in talks to join the Mandalorian and Grogu movie cast. Set
Is
to come
she
out.
really?
Yes, that movie is set to come out in 2 years. We are going to get two Star Wars movies that year. We're going to get The Mandalorian and Grogu, and we're going to get the Rey Skywalker New Jedi Order movie, which I'm excited about it. Um,
We need a Ripley reference at least once, like her character, like in a giant mech suit or something.
yeah,
Just something.
I honestly, if Bill Paxton were still alive, I would just love him just to come in in Mandalorian armor and just take the helmet off and just be like, "Game over, man! Game over!"
That would be
Yeah,
that
it'd
would
be
be
amazing.
fantastic.
It would be
Yeah.
fantastic.
Oh yeah, yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? If you want to do an aliens like thing, bring Paul Reiser back in. Like, bring him in as like some snotty New Republic guy.
Hmm.
Like we have no idea yet.
And
We have
I mean,
no idea.
if you need I say if you need a kind of something to simulate the alien infant Sarlacc, you know,
Yeah. So
because
funny thing
they are
about
suitably
infants.
nasty.
So funny thing about infant Sarlaccs is you can get an infant Sarlacc piggy bank at Galaxy's Edge.
What?
It's a piggy bank. Yeah.
Is it just for the satisfaction of smashing a Sarlacc or something?
So it's actually like in a container
Mm.
and like you just like drop it in the slot, but it like goes into it
That's
goes
cool.
into the beak and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not like the Dune popcorn bucket or or even the Deadpool 3 popcorn
Have
bucket.
you have you seen the video? Somebody stuck a Boba Fett action figure into the Dune popcorn
Yes.
bucket. It was
That
just
is actually the way to do the Dune popcorn bucket is to
yes.
stick a Boba Fett action figure in it.
Yes, and just a Boba Fett action figure.
Yes. Yes. We here on the Beacon do not condone any other any
Any other
other
use of
uses
that popcorn bucket.
except for popcorn and Boba Fett action
Yes.
figures. That's it.
Those are the canon uses.
Yes. Yes. Or to get that thing that like you can drink.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You can put Sardaukar action figures in there. That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um welcome to the Dune cast. Uh
Now for Dune Batch.
yeah, now for Dune Batch. Um I forgot what I was gonna say.
We're talking about the popcorn bucket.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, did you so real quick before we get into that batch because people are like popping in and out. They're probably like, why aren't they talking about this anymore? Uh we're catching up before we dive into
the
Dad Batch,
the same thing
okay?
happens on my TikTok lives.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Yeah, we're catching up. Like chill, okay? Just chill. Um did you see the Deadpool 3 popcorn bucket that
No.
Deadpool designed?
Wait. Oh no. Hang on a minute.
You got to look it up.
You gotta be kidding.
I'm not going
I
to
mean,
share it. I'm not going to
okay. I
share it,
mean,
but
it's Deadpool, so you know.
it's Deadpool.
So I mean,
It is Deadpool. Yeah, but I think it's great because only Deadpool would design that.
yes.
Only Deadpool would design that popcorn bucket.
That is
Uh,
that is.
he looked it up.
I'm waving my Italian hands.
Hey,
Hey, baba boo. My
Bibbidi-bobbidi.
family's half Italian. I can make those jokes.
Yes, yes, yeah. No, it's
To the audience, but yeah.
yeah. It is not Chef's kiss. That's
No,
that's all I'm gonna
no,
say.
it definitely isn't.
But even like Feige comes out at CinemaCon and he's like, "Yeah, only Deadpool can design this bucket." I'm like, "You really signed off on this?"
I mean, is Deadpool 3 still Ryan Reynolds, right?
Yeah.
Because
It's
he hasn't.
Ryan Reynolds and Jackman.
Because I know he's doing Mint Mobile now, but I didn't know if he had like completely like gone full in on Mint or if he was still doing movies or not.
Yeah,
So
so he's still doing. He's got Deadpool in July. He's got
mm,
If in May, which is all about imaginary friends.
yeah,
It is live action Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Um, and then he's also co-chair of Wrexham soccer or Wrexham Football Club. And so they're actually releasing Welcome to Wrexham season 3 soon. Which, quick side note, if you've not watched that documentary about uh, the Welsh football team that him and Rob McElhenney bought over in Wales do yourself a favor and watch it. It's awesome. It's so good. Absolutely fantastic. Um, Amanda knows what I'm talking about. So anyway, that's it for the craziness. Um, I feel like we have like a wacky morning radio car show going on right now. Like,
we just need like the over the top like sound effect button, you know?
whap, whap.
Just have the soundboard, you know.
Yeah.
It's like we're both millennials, have like a Lil Jon. What? You know.
What? Yeah, wacky waving. My wife said wacky waving arm inflatable flailing tube man just in the background somewhere.
You need like a Star Wars theme one behind you
Yeah,
for the next one, you know?
exactly. A Grogu one that's just him with his bag of cookies. He's just
That
like
would be brilliant.
wee.
It just keeps getting more and more inflatable Star Wars tube characters with each live. It's like
I have to move my couch further and further from the wall.
eventually it's just, just outside and there's just like a whole field of them.
Coming to you from the studio. I want to get one of like I think the perfect one would be Wrecker too. Like Wrecker with like a
Yeah.
gonky like up above his head.
Yeah,
I
no,
love gonky.
that would be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um we're gonna call it like Crazy Eric and the Armorer.
You are listening to
You're
93.5.
You're listening to 93.5 The Beacon. Da, da, da. And here comes Crazy Eric and the Armorer. Bow, 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 bow.
What?
Yeah, what? Okay.
Yeah. Signal that we grew up in the early 2000s without saying we grew up in the early 2000s.
We've lost it already.
We have.
We're trying to I'm trying to reel it back in, but I'm having a
Our
hard
live
time.
audience is looking at
Yeah.
us like, what in the brain damage is going on here?
What are these guys smoking and or drinking today?
And
Just
where can
water and Coke right now.
my Coke might have a little bit of rum in it, but
Oh, ooh. It was
tiny,
really
tiny
fun.
little.
It was really funny. A couple of weeks ago, we just decided to do a happy hour one.
Mhm.
So like we were just starting to drink on stream. It was great. It
I,
was fun.
I did that a couple of weeks ago. We were playing Total War, and I was smashed out of my mind, and it was entertaining. the
Nice.
my
Um
yeah
oh, by the way, thank you for
yes.
taking time out of your busy schedule of spreading managed democracy to come on here finally.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
time I go on Discord and I click on your name, it says playing Helldivers too.
Hey, man, democracy waits for no one.
Hey, I am not judging. Like hey, hey.
There's a new campaign pack out that gives you incendiary impact grenades, which are
Oh,
pretty
cool.
great. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I was trying to work in the Helldivers joke at one point. I was thinking, how am I going to introduce Matt?
Matt, thank you for diving in. I was like, oh, yes.
Thank you for hell diving, or thank you for diving into hell.
I need to we need to see a mashup of ODST and Helldivers cosplayers at a con at some point. Like,
I would love that. I would
mm,
absolutely love that.
seriously.
Because like you can tell, like, and we're getting the bad batch. I swear, we're getting the bad batch.
We'll get there, we promise.
Yeah. But like, quick side note, like you could tell, like the development team at Arrowhead, like really took a lot of inspiration from ODSTs
Yes.
for Helldivers. Um, and that's just awesome. Oh, real quick, I just found out Helldivers 2 is actually the seventh highest grossing PlayStation Studios title of all time. and that's because of PS5 and PC. The PC players have really like made that thing have legs.
So Helldivers 2 has mods now.
Yep,
So
I did see that.
one of them turns chargers into Thomas the Tank Engine. So you have Thomas the Tank Engine with charger legs charging at you.
That's
And
funny.
and it was just like you want to make anything in a video game terrifying, take something big and scary and make it Thomas the Tank Engine. It just like ramps it up that much more in scare factor.
Or Macho Man Randy Savage, like we saw with Skyrim.
What is that noise? Yeah.
You just hear "Burn, Baby, Burn" as the music.
Yes.
Anyway,
Anyway.
uh, Bad Batch happened.
Yes. Bad Batch.
Um, oh man. Oh man. This show, man.
It was so good. It,
It
it was
was.
also it was also really refreshing in like a post Game of Thrones era of media and television
Mhm.
that we had a show that ended on a happy note, you know?
Yeah, I
Like
agree.
that was really refreshing, cuz it's
Um,
like
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, because yeah, it's like, okay, we've had our fun with defying literary stereotypes, and it's like, oh well, the good guys are actually awful because everyone's awful and everybody dies
Mhm.
and everything's bad. It's like, okay, we've had our run with that. It's nice to have, you know, something a little bit more kind of like classically literary, I think is the right way to
Yeah,
phrase that. You know?
yeah. And I will say this, like it it had a little bit of a cliffhanger of an ending, like just a little bit of a cliffhanger of an ending because of the epilogue with Omega and
Right.
Hunter. But this show, like throughout all 3 seasons, had a complete beginning, middle, and end.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, honestly, I wish I could have watched at least 2 more seasons of this show, but I'm happy with what we got
Yes.
because what we got was just so incredible.
Oh,
Um,
oh yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the the thing that I think I really loved about it the most was that when you go back and rewatch it, you see its transformation
Mhm,
of, you know, using the same animation style as Clone Wars and then it eventually developing like into its own thing,
mhm.
you know, and that is just cool.
Yeah, I will say this, like, one of my favorite things about, Star Wars TV shows in general is, um, especially the animated shows, is yeah, they definitely start off looking like Clone Wars, like, if you look at Rebels, if you look at Bad Batch, even Tales of the Empire and Tales of the Jedi, but after a while, like you said, like, they all evolve into, like, their own art style and, like, their own way of animating, and I gotta tell you, this show was the most beautiful Star Wars animated show I've ever watched.
Yes. Yes.
Um, between the animation, the acting, and the storytelling, like, this was the most beautiful Star Wars show I've ever watched.
The storytelling was dark enough to be compelling without it being over the top, you
Mhm,
know?
yeah. And it still had some fun moments, like, we still had some, like, lighthearted episodes and stuff
Sure.
like that, and we still had some, like, really funny jokes, but for the most part, like, when this show got serious, like, it got serious, and this thing was like a drama, like, was like an intense drama, and honestly, I mean, I hate how people discredit animation as a form of storytelling because it truly
Do they
is.
still do that?
A lot of people still do. And honestly, some of the best Star Wars stories have been in animated form.
Oh yeah, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Because with an environment like sci-fi, there's so much more that you can do
Mhm.
when it's animated versus live. Because like
Yeah.
everybody came down really hard on like Book of Boba Fett, you
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
because people were like, we want to see live action Boba Fett. They got live action Boba Fett,
Yeah.
and but then people weren't satisfied with the way it was. It was like, well, if it was animated, there would have been a lot more potential with what they could have done.
Yeah,
I personally, I liked Book of Boba Fett. It
I
kind
did
of
too.
had like a kind of like an 80s like street cop show type vibe to it.
It did.
And you know, I think it's the nice thing about there just being the absolute plethora of Star Wars content that we have now is that
Hmm.
we get a variety, you know?
Yeah. Um, yeah. I will say this about Boba. It definitely was like Robert Rodriguez's influence in the style of the show is definitely there.
Right.
Um, we've talked about this before. I just feel like a little bit of that just suffered from a little bit of the writing and some identity crisis here and there.
Sure.
It was still a very enjoyable show. Um, and we've talked about those criticisms a while, but I still enjoy it. It's a fun.
Mhm.
If I want to turn my brain off for a little bit, I'll just put on Book of Boba Fett because it's fun. I mean,
Right.
how can you not love like a Bantha? Um,
Yes.
but John also brings up a great point for Clone Wars. You had
Mm.
Maul's return, which was beautifully done in
Yeah.
Clone Wars. The Umbara arc with Pong Krell, that was beautifully animated.
Mhm.
And then Siege of Mandalore, like absolutely. The Clone Wars series finale, those final four episodes are some of the most beautiful episodes they've ever animated in anything. It's just great. I will say this real quick about animated Star Wars shows. I think one that a lot of people still kind of don't give a good shot. Don't give a good shot with is Resistance. Like I really
Mm.
enjoyed Resistance. A lot of people were kind of turned off with like the anime cell shaded look of
Mm.
the show. And I totally get it. Like I totally understand where people are coming from with that. But
Right.
if you looked at the show itself, it told a really, really fun story set in the sequel trilogy. Yeah,
The irony is that, back in I think it came out in I want to say maybe the early 2010s. Somebody went and did it was this kind of it was like like a minute and a half long trailer of a Star Wars dogfight
yeah,
between Rebels and Empire, but in the like late 90s anime style.
yes,
And
yes. I remember the one
everybody
they're talking about.
yeah, and everybody lost their minds over
Yeah,
it, like in a good way. So it's interesting because like we're now in a position where like if the fandom screams loud enough about wanting that, they'll probably get it, you know?
I mean, Visions is a great way of
Sure.
getting that for now. And I know we're talking about we're talking about Star Wars animation in general, and we're gonna shift back towards the Bad Batch. But I think in order to talk about Bad Batch, you do have to talk about the various animated shows
Mhm.
within the Star Wars universe
There's a
as
lot of
well.
context that's
That
necessary because it builds off of it.
it really does. I look at Bad Batch as, yeah, it definitely. I mean, of course, it has the direct ties to Clone Wars and it has direct ties to Rebels, but it also just forges its own path. And
Mm,
honestly, like I get, okay, we talked about M count with Omega, and with Asajj Ventress, like you kind of had to explore that a little bit, but it was also really refreshing to see a Star Wars show that, yeah, it occasionally had references to the Force here and there, but for the most part, it was its own thing in its own little corner, telling its own story. And honestly, I've said this time and time again. The clones are the best characters in Star Wars animation.
mhm.
Um, the stories that they tell with the clones, just, I mean, they're top notch, man.
Right. One of the things I really enjoyed about Bad Batch was and not just the final season, but the entirety of the series was how they covered the transition of Republic military to Imperial military. So,
Absolutely.
in Attack of the Clones and Clone Wars, we're used to kind of very warm and excited feelings when we see like a Republic gunship, for
Hmm.
example, right? It's like the good guys are coming in to save the day. But
Yeah.
in Bad Batch, the seeing a Republic gunship from the perspective of the main characters, it invokes a sense of fear, which
Mhm.
is, it's wild to have that kind of that 180,
Mhm.
but it's also nice to see that gap filled in, because there
Yeah.
was, I mean, part of the reason why the prequels, unjustifiably in my opinion, got a lot of hate back in the early days, was because it was just like, well, they've got all this cool tech in the Republic era. Where did it go in the Imperial era?
Yeah.
And Bad Batch, I think, answers that question very beautifully.
It does. It really does because of it's the more militaristic nature of the empire, like you said.
Hmm.
I mean, and you even get that fear in the pilot episode. That first episode, you're really starting to see that transition just like in
Yep.
the first few minutes of that episode alone, when they get back to Camino after the mission. Um and and it's just crazy because like while it's familiar to them, it feels so alien to them as well. And like the only person that really accepts what's going on is Crosshair.
Hmm.
Whereas the others are like, something's not right here. Like,
Right. Right.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like Crosshair kind of, I think, and maybe it was because of his predisposition as like a marksman or something.
yeah,
It's just like he kind of saw the writing on the wall for what it is, and
hmm,
just initially tried to adapt, but then found that he couldn't. You know,
yeah,
and I think that's some beautiful storytelling, because it's sort
hmm,
of like, you know it's trying to conform to the way things are or appear to be going,
hmm,
and running up against the fact that it's just not in your being. You know.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you also look at the Order 66 sequence in the pilot is also another great example, which I will still always laugh whenever I see young Kane and Jarrus show up with pretty much sup lava. Um,
Yup.
uh, but I get it. Like Freddie Prince Jr. was trying to do a young voice. Like I totally get it. I was just
Mm.
happy they brought him back
Yeah. Yeah.
to
No, that
to
that
to
was
play
cool.
Kanan. Um, but like even then, you see Hunter and Crosshair start butting heads with what's right and what's wrong just in that scene alone,
Right.
because Crosshair takes a couple of shots at Kanan and Hunter's like, "What are you doing? Like
Hmm.
we're trying to protect the kid."
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Because like, them, suddenly it was just like, oh well, good soldiers follow orders, and the rest of
Yeah.
them are like, dude, when have we ever done that?
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
know.
And I mean, and Tech hits that nail on the head perfectly in the season 2 finale.
Hmm.
Which we'll get to that in a few minutes here. But I mean, that first season alone is just great. Like the introduction of Rampart as one of the villains of the first season is beautiful.
Hmm.
Absolutely beautiful. And I love the setting up of the chain code. Like I thought that was brilliantly
Yep.
done. Um I I will say this, I loved the use of Saw Gerrera. Now, like looking back on it, I really, because at first I was a little hesitant about seeing Saw Gerrera because I was just thinking,
Mhm.
why are we seeing this guy again? Like I get it, he's important, like I
Yeah.
get it, but why are we seeing him again? And then like with the scene with Crosshair and the clone commando unit, or not even the clone commando unit, but that commando unit, and like how they just wipe out all of those dudes. I was like,
Hmm.
"Oh, I get why Saw Gerrera is so pissed off now."
Yep. And I always love seeing Saw Gerrera, because like,
Yeah.
he because of he is exactly what the Empire claims the entirety of the rebellion is, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's seeing him too, like in Andor, and
Mhm.
in I think he was in Andor, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah, he's in,
Yeah.
yeah, he
In
cameos a couple of times in Andor,
Yeah,
yeah.
Andor, and then Rogue One, and then Rebels.
Mhm,
Just having the rebellion have those gray shades to them.
mhm.
It's just, yeah. I'm a fan of complex storytelling. I also like Book Thrawn from Legends,
Yeah.
because he's not quite like. I know Timothy Zahn signed off on him in Rebels, but he's a
Hmm.
little bit more cartoon villain-ish in Rebels than he is in the books.
Yeah.
So,
I will say this, just real quick. If you want like a good Thrawn story that's in current canon, just read the Chiss Ascendancy novels. It's just
mhm,
called Thrawn Ascendancy. They're great. It's about him with the Chiss Ascendancy. So like you get to see
yeah,
him be the tactical genius that he is.
that's awesome. That's really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. But like with Saw Gerrera, I still honestly, I think we've talked about this before, but I'll say it again. I hold him responsible for Tech's death.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and and it hurts to say that because I love Tech so much, but I love Saw Gerrera because of his morally gray areas. Because
mhm,
um, it also kind of goes to that whole thing where like I was just thinking about this, like people talk about the greatest generation being World War II, but they still had to get their hands dirty in order to win the war.
yep, yep,
um but if you look at like the rebellion, like, yeah, Mon Mothma and all of them kind of signed off on these dudes
mhm. Like,
that
they had to publicly disapprove of him to save face, but
yeah,
realistically speaking, like, war is war, you know?
yeah,
And, Saul was willing to do things that are awful, but, war is also awful. So,
yeah,
you know?
I totally agree. I totally agree. Like you just look at like the things that, I mean, just Cassian goes through in Andor season 1 and even in Rogue One. Like, you're like, holy crap, like this guy has been through some stuff and has had to do
Mhm,
some stuff. I mean, Saw Gerrera has had to do some stuff he's done what he feels is best, but because, and this is why I love his story arc in Clone Wars so much, because he loses his sister
mhm, right.
like in that story arc, and
And that's
that's
what
what,
breaks him, I think, isn't
yeah.
it?
Yeah, that's what sets him down that path, because he looks at the Jedi, he looks at Anakin, he looks at Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, and he's like, "Oh yeah, no, these are guys that I can totally like go into battle with, they're making me optimistic here." But then what he doesn't realize is he doesn't realize that sacrifice is a part of what's going on.
Right,
And it's
right.
not until he loses his sister where it finally clicks for him, where he's like, it's kind of funny, like it goes to that Spock quote too from Star Trek: the needs of the many outweigh the
Yep.
needs of the few.
Yeah, exactly. The
um yeah.
drawing parallels between, like Saw Gerrera, Bad Batch, and Andor and all of that, I am really enjoying this this storytelling trend of exceptional individuals, yes, but
Hmm.
like, of just people on the ground on the grassroots level in Star
Yeah,
Wars. You know,
yeah,
it's sort of it feels like there's more than 5 people in the galaxy. 4 of them are Jedi, and the only planet is Tatooine.
yeah.
And
I totally get that.
yeah, but
I Yeah,
I was just gonna say because I love the Jedi and I
yeah.
love kind of the space opera kind of
Hmm.
wizards in space type deal. But it's also cool to see this stuff as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, Rogue One is one of my favorite movies because you actually get to see the war and how
Hmm.
it affects normal people.
Yep.
The Bad Batch is great because you see the war and how it affects these clones that, according to the Empire, are all but expendable. I mean, they
Hmm.
are expendable. Like, they're nobody to the Empire
Yep.
except for a select few people. And to see the clones question their loyalty to the Empire, and then to see them going through PTSD over what they did to the Jedi, like they finally realized, like, oh crap, we screwed up.
Hmm.
Like when it came to Order 66.
Yep. And wrestling with the fact that they had no control over themselves when they did it.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
just it was something that switched on in their brains, and then it after that it was just they never have to do it again. But there's no Jedi left to do it again too.
Yeah.
So.
And if you look at the clones, like in the Bad Batch, and you look at the ones um that like regret their choices and everything, it's it's Rex, it's Cody, it's Hauser,
Yes.
Wolf even like regrets it too,
Mhm.
because they're just like because they're still trying to believe in the ideals of the Republic because that's what they were raised to believe. That's what they
Right.
were taught to believe. And now that the Empire is in and changing everything, they go, "Oh no, like this isn't what we fought for." Like
Mhm.
and so for clones to kind of start the rebellion too was really cool because like
Yes.
you were starting to see like the clones starting their version of the rebellion.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is really cool. Cause and even, even with it expanding into fan theories
Mhm.
Return of the Jedi having Captain Rex in it, that real old dude on Endor, you know?
I still believe that's him, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it is too,
Yeah.
personally. But as far as I know, I don't know if it's ever been officially canonized by Disney. But
Filoni said it was, but then he kind of walked it back, and then he kind of walked that back. So like
it's
he's
one of those things where it's like, it's not Rex unless,
yeah, he says it's not Rex, but Rex was there, but Rex wasn't there, but Rex was there, but it's
it,
not
it, it,
Rex.
it was
I'm like,
Rex.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because like the character actually had a name in the movie, and it was Nick Saint because he kind of looks like Santa Claus.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, and
Yeah, no, that's
if
great.
that's what you want to do, like as a member of the rebellion, like call yourself Nick Sane. All right, cool. Like,
Yeah.
who am I to tell you no? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just seeing all of that, like I wanted more of the clone uprising. Like, I wanted to see more of the clone rebellion, but I'm happy with what we got from it
Hmm.
because it worked. It worked so well
Yes.
for what we got. Um, And we haven't even like really gotten into the batch themselves. Like we've just been talking
Mhm.
about the supporting characters of the damn thing. Um
I
yeah.
I'll go ahead and kind of spearhead the conversation about the batch themselves.
Yeah.
I want to see a I want to see Omega, like adult Omega, show up in one of the future shows.
Oh, me too.
Like one of the like immediately like post Endor show,
Mhm.
whatever shows they haven't done of that yet. It would be so cool to see, and
Mhm.
a grown up Omega.
I mean, she would be perfect like if they ever decided to do the Liberation of Coruscant story, she would be a perfect
Ooh.
character for them to focus on in
Yes,
that story.
that would be fantastic.
Yeah. And that's like one of my dream stories for Lucasfilm to do is just that
Mhm.
whole what did you think about Dr. Hemlock? He's one of my favorite villains. Hemlock was incredible.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
And Jimmy Simpson, what a terrific performance by Jimmy Simpson in that whole thing. Hemlock was fantastic.
Hmm.
And yes, he did look a little bit like Hawkeye. Um,
Right.
but he was so good. Like I just
He had that sort of like there was an insidiousness to him. If
mhm.
and actually that actually wasn't intended as a pun because Darth Sidious. But anyway, we'll roll with it. He had this subtler insidiousness to him,
Mhm,
and it wasn't the kind of the overt kind of malice that you see from characters
mhm.
like Tarkin or Vader, but
Yeah.
he, it was cool. He was a cool villain.
Even then, like, if you look at Tarkin, like, he's not as insidious as, like, others are.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
General Veers is kind of an insidious villain.
Yeah.
But, like, Tarkin the thing that made Tarkin so great was his overconfidence and his arrogance. Like,
Yes.
that is Tarkin, like, to a T.
I love how Tarkin just kind of takes 5 minutes to look at the facility and it's just like redirect this all towards Project Stardust, and I was just
Yeah.
like, okay.
Mhm. I love Tarkin. Um,
Mhm.
even like Krennic isn't as insidious. Like Krennic's just my
He's
favorite
power
thing.
hungry, but
Krennic is power hungry so much it makes him a brown nose. because
Yep.
like he's trying to brown nose, especially
Mhm.
when he meets Vader in Rogue One. Because he's just trying to be like, Tarkin did this. Like,
Be
aren't I
careful
in
not to choke
charge?
on your aspirations,
I
Krennic.
love that line so much because it's Anakin Skywalker. It's so classic Anakin
Yeah.
Skywalker. Um, but yeah, like seeing Tarkin and Krennic in the Bad Batch, like it was really cool to see them. I wanted to see more of them, especially with Hemlock losing control of
Mhm.
Mount Tantus. But I also like wanted to see them butt heads with Hemlock over the
That would have been
whole
cool.
Mount Tantus thing because they're like, well, the Empire's allocating valuable resources from Project Stardust to this Mount Tantus thing. Like, what the hell is Project Necromancer and why should we care about it?
Because Project Necromancer was what made the Snoke clones, right?
Eventually, that does lead to the snow clones. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. That eventually leads to the whole snow clones, and then
Mhm.
somehow Palpatine returned. Which that it's not that bad of a line.
It's
Okay,
not,
it's
no.
not that bad of a line.
The send off they did for Nala Se.
Oh, the send off for Nala Se was great, and
Oh
how she
yeah.
takes Rampart out with her
Mhm.
because
It's just like,
she's like, you blew up my home, now I'm gonna blow up yours.
yeah, right. She basically made sure that the Kaminoan cloning data died with her, which
Mhm.
is just like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I absolutely love that she got the last laugh on Rampart. Like, I
Mhm.
love that.
Because she
Um,
probably knew she was dead anyway. So,
yeah, like she knew that was a one-way trip.
right,
Like she knew, and Omega knew that it was going to be a one-way trip for her too. And
right.
Omega didn't really fight her on it. Like I think Omega was just like, "Yeah, there's no way Nala Se is coming back,"
Mhm.
and she accepts it. I like how they kept Rampart evil, and Nala Se was given such an insane character development. Her character development was fantastic. Amanda, absolutely. Rampart's end was beautiful.
It was.
And you know what? He grew on me in those final few episodes. Like I really liked him for a bit, you know?
Yeah.
Like
You 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 saw some complexity in there, but
yeah,
eventually his imperialness came out in the end,
yeah.
and you know,
Yeah. That's true too because Omega yeah. My wife actually just brought up a really great point, and that is Omega's acceptance of Nala Se leaving and
mhm,
how she just accepts that people have to do what people have to do.
yep,
Um,
yeah,
eh, and a lot of that stems from Tech leaving the batch for a bit.
yeah.
When
No, I
Tech
would
left the
agree.
batch for a bit, because like it that was a growing part for Omega because like even like she talked about how like she talks to Tech about it and how she's like, how are you not upset about this? And Tech's like, I'm pissed. Like, I'm upset that Echo isn't here, but I have to keep it together because I know he has something that he has to do.
Right, right. Echo getting that droid hand at the end was also pretty cool too. You know,
Echo with the droid hand was a lot of fun.
yeah, that was great. Like honestly, I was hoping to see something similar with Crosshair,
Yeah,
because you know he he got disarmed. We'll say,
he did get
but
disarmed. Puns.
pun. But I would have liked to have seen him with like kind of like an Echo style
Yeah,
implement, and then just like they go back and grab the other droid hand or something from that one ship, and hey,
but
we're
it's like
back for the other
backwards.
one. He's got two left hands now.
Yeah, what the hell? What's really funny, like let's talk about Crosshair real quick because his
Hmm.
character development throughout the entire series was incredible.
Oh, it was
Um
great.
and I have to say like I loved him in season 3 because it's really interesting because like he has the shaky hand, right? And like he's having trouble making the shots. It's not until he loses his hand that he's like, all right, now I got this.
Right. Yeah. It's
Yeah. And my wife just said it's because of that trust with Hunter and that trust with Omega that
yes.
he's able to take that shot.
Yeah, you could definitely make the argument that it was sort of both a literal and a symbolic kind of leaving his old self behind, you
Oh,
know?
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Um I love that he's the one to take the shot. I love that
Mhm.
he's the one to really drive home the point that, you know, anybody can be redeemed, really. Like
Oh
he
yeah,
he gets that redemption moment, and that's one of the great things about Star Wars is it truly is about redemption, like
it is.
regardless. Not every character gets redeemed, but the
And
ones yeah,
I was going to say not every character gets redeemed, and those that do don't always get a happily ever after, but they do at
no,
least get the redemption.
they do. But Crosshair got the happily ever after, and I was happy about
He
that.
did. He did.
Um uh and like I loved his story arc. I loved like how ruthless he was in the beginning. Um and then like he softens a bit like as this
Mhm.
time goes on. One of the standouts to me was I believe was that episode in the snow season 2
Yes.
with the clone
That
trooper.
yeah.
Yeah, uh, that for me was the turning point for Crosshair.
Mhm. Yeah, where he shoots the imperial officer.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
so good. It was so well done.
The the snow or the they had some kind of shield or something too that kept like the beasties out. I forget what
It
that
was
was.
it was like the sound emitter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, because like they explored that in season 3 how like the one malfunctions a bit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Almost a little bit of a Dune vibe, don't you think?
It did have Dune Samworn vibes, and we were actually
Yeah.
talking about that because like that episode did come out like after Dune. Um, or after Dune 2, I should say.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, I'm getting sandworm vibes here, but I love this. Like, it's so good.
You know, it's
Um,
like you see a Shai Hulud just pop out of the ground, and it's just like, wait a minute, what?
yeah. Um, but I love how like Batcher's the one to like try to take on this creature.
Yup. Yup.
Like Crosshair is like, what the hell are you doing? Like, but Batcher has no fear. Like she has no fear, but that's
Nope.
because of her imprinting on with Omega. Like
Yep.
Omega had no fear. Um, I do want to talk about Omega now because like I think that's a great transition to Omega.
I agree.
Um, and how I I love her story is great. Her story arc is great. I will say this. I was not a fan of hers in the first season. I really was not a fan of hers in the first season.
Mm.
But she grew on me a lot, especially in season 2.
And I think the character is probably designed that way. Like
Yeah,
she was designed to be kind of like the annoying ankle biter kid in the beginning, and
like Ahsoka.
because yeah,
Yeah.
because it's like you can't they a character can't demonstrate real growth without starting off in a position where they need that growth,
Mhm.
and it's I hear you. It's like the way that they introduced her was definitely interesting, and
Yeah.
she definitely kind of plays the annoying kid vibe, but the what she grows into is just it's really cool.
Oh, yeah. I am so happy that I stuck with her character because it's her where she ends up is perfect.
Hmm.
And she's so strong and so independent, and I just love I love her character so much. I love that she literally starts a food fight in the very first episode with Wrecker. Like, I think that that's so
Yes.
funny.
Yes.
And how Wrecker just literally throws a tray at a dude. Um,
Wrecker's just a giant kid at heart.
He is, he is. He's my favorite batcher. Um, but but I but like her story is so good, and like her leading the kids in the finale,
That was
it was
cool.
like she had her own little squad of Bad Batchers,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought that that was so well done. It was great for the kids to get their happy ending with being reunited with their parents, or they imply that they were
Right.
reunited with their parents. I think it would have been cool for to see them to see them get reunited,
Yeah, and
especially
like
the
kind of
little
a
one.
montage. Yeah.
Yeah, especially the little one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, because we saw him get kidnapped by Cad Bane. Um,
uh,
and she called them mini batchers. She did call them mini batchers,
hmm.
and that's what they were. They were mini batchers.
Yeah.
Um, I will also say this: Omega had one of the most badass moments with releasing the Zillow Beast. I
Yes.
loved that bit so much
No, that was fantastic.
because I was thinking every time we saw Mount Tantus, like in that final season, I was like, "Isn't the Zillow Beast here? Isn't the Zillow Beast here?" And I was thinking, it's coming back somehow. It's coming back. And then sure enough, it comes right out in that finale. And I mean it was awesome. Like Stefan from Weekend Update, it had everything.
Mhm.
Like
Yes. Yes. The that whole finale was just amazing. And
Mhm.
because like this is something that I get I'm gonna harp on, kind of post Game of Thrones era media because
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was and am not a fan of the Game of Thrones series personally. But
I liked it
the
up until those final seasons, but yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah.
But the i- if people are bored with predictability in a story, it just
Mhm.
means the story's not being told well enough,
I
because
agree.
you can have a traditionally told story where
Mhm.
the outcome, but if it's told skillfully enough, you'll still be on the edge of your seat. And
Oh
I think
yeah.
the finale of Bad Batch did that.
It also reminds me of David Tennant's last Doctor Who special as the 14th Doctor when he
Yeah, when he's
bigenerated.
yeah,
Um yeah.
it still sends chills up my spine.
I loved that his doctor finally got the happy ending that he deserved. And
Hmm.
that is one of my things. Matt, I love that you're hitting the nail on the head with this with the happy endings because we haven't gotten a lot of that in television.
Now,
Especially for a while now. I think like the last show that I really watched that had like a really happy ending was The Office, and that was 11 years ago now, probably.
right? Yeah.
Um,
Well,
yeah.
people are riding they're milking the Game of Thrones cash cow for everything that
Oh
it's
no,
worth.
they are.
You
They
know,
are.
and I think that with stuff like Bad Batch, the way that it wrapped up, we're starting to see kind of a return to more traditional storytelling
Hmm.
motifs or
Yeah.
motifs.
Well, even
Tropes is the word.
even then, like the last season of Mandalorian ends kind of like a series finale.
It does kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I liked the way Mando season 3 ended too, because it was is that yeah, was it season 3 or season.
It was season 3 that had them on Navarro in the on the ranch essentially.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and Grogu was picking up the frogs using the Force. Um,
Right.
but even then, I've talked about my criticisms about Mando season 3. But like that kind of had a happy ending to that season. Like it
It
didn't end
did.
on a cliffhanger. Even Book of Boba Fett kind of had a happy ending, a
Mhm.
little bit. Um, but it is like Rebels had a pretty happy ending too.
Yeah, yeah.
Rebels did. The one that didn't have a happy ending was Clone Wars.
No, but that was necessary in order to
Oh,
set it up
absolutely,
for, Revenge
absolutely.
of the Sith and all that. But and that's one thing where it's like I think that you can have a story that doesn't have a happy ending
Hmm.
if there's a purpose to it,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
for me personally, yeah, I know that people are gonna come out and defend like Game of Thrones. It's like, oh well, there's this plot and that plot. It's like, okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
get it. At a certain point, it just became needless slaughter, in my personal
Oh,
opinion.
I agree. I agree.
And and you can do negative endings,
Hmm.
and um you can do negative endings as long as they tell a story. Because like,
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back was like that.
Oh, absolute cliffhanger.
Oh yeah,
Absolute
yeah.
cliffhanger. Yeah. Um, and I will say, like, Resistance had a happy ending. Actually, Resistance had a really happy ending for the two
Mhm.
season run that they did. Um, so I am liking that return to form of, like, you tell this complete story,
Yes.
you get a satisfying enough ending. I will say this about the ending. I would not change the bit with Omega and Hunter. I would not change that at all because I love their final scene together. It's
It's
I mean, I
beautiful.
was
So
tearing
sweet.
up. I
Yeah.
was tearing up. It was so well done. The only thing I had wished was I wanted to see her with Crosshair and Wrecker and and Echo one more time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, or even with them just being there in the cave and, like, giving her a hug or
I get that.
whatever. Like, I would have liked to have seen that. However, it started with Hunter and Omega, it ended with Hunter and Omega, which was perfect.
Yeah. No,
Um,
I agree.
Omega has this line, and I'm kinda tearing up thinking about it. It's when she says, "I'm not a child anymore," and Hunter says, "It doesn't matter, you're still our child."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he says, "If you ever need us, you call us and we'll be there."
Mhm.
And I'm just thinking to myself, like, that is just that's love right there.
Yep.
That is pure love right there. Yeah, they're related by blood because they're clones, but
Yeah.
they were their own family, and, oh, it was
Yeah. Yeah. It was just like it
Mm,
just it hits you right there.
it does. It really does. And that just goes to show you that that writing team with Brad Rao and Jennifer Corbett, like Filoni had some stuff doing it to do with the Bad Batch, but he let
Mhm.
Rao and Corbett like really take the reins on the show,
It was so
um,
good.
and make it their own thing. And like just the writing for this, oh my god.
Mhm.
I mean, it's so good. And
Yeah.
um oh man, I just it's so good, and the stories were so well deserved, and man,
The whole thing was just so I think a good way to put it, shows like Book of Boba Fett are fun. They're
yeah,
enjoyable.
I agree.
Bad Batch was a masterpiece.
It really was
Like,
a masterpiece of storytelling.
yes.
Um,
100%.
and I will say this, like, this show hit at the perfect time too.
Mhm.
Because if you look at it, the show premiered in 21. Yeah, yeah, because it premiered the day we were at Galaxy's Edge on May 4th. Um, yeah, so like it came out in 2021. We're in the middle of a pandemic, pretty dark time.
Mhm.
And it was kind of like this light, and it was like this
Yeah.
thing where we're like, oh no, this is awesome. Like all is well with the world. Like and then like because also High Republic came out at that time, and that
Yeah.
really saved my sanity like during the pandemic. Um, but like Bad Batch like hit at the right time, and then it got a little bit darker. It ended on a cliffhanger, and then like we got to season two, and yeah, that was a little bit
Mhm.
darker and everything. But one of the things I will say is that there's a lot of crap going on in the world right now. Like a lot of crap. But
A lot of real
Bad
horrible
Batch,
stuff.
yeah, and a lot of real horrible stuff. But Bad Batch was one of those things that gave you hope. It was
Yes.
one of those things that made you happy as you were watching it.
Well, and I think it's because, the in the case of the Bad Batch,
Yeah,
they're united by kind of that common bond of like
hmm,
family. And
yeah,
they're kind of this interesting mix of like blood related family but also chosen family.
yeah, and
Because
yeah,
they're all clones, so they're siblings by blood. But
yeah.
the because of the massive age difference, I mean, we call it Dad Batch for a reason.
We
You
do
know,
call it Dad Batch.
so Omega effectively had a squad of dads looking out for her. And
Hmm.
so it was really kind of this beautiful blend of family archetypes and people aspiring to something higher.
Hmm.
And I think that's what makes it so hopeful and so wonderful as a series.
Yeah, yeah. I also like to call it now, especially three men and a baby because of Omega.
Yeah.
Um, or three and a half men. Um, uh,
Amanda here says Star Wars has always been the best to use to escape from the world. Honestly, so
absolutely.
like that kind of goes off of something that Tolkien said back in the
Hmm.
day, because it was it's something about you know fantasy. you know it's something about escapism, basically being the mind fleeing from prison,
Hey,
more or
Ro.
less. Oh, hey, Scarif, cool.
Yeah,
But yeah.
not the Weird Al thing, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But no, I mean that is true. Like fantasy, especially science fantasy, like Star Wars, is an amazing way to escape from the
Hmm.
world, and like it also does a great job of tackling. Yeah, you did, Ro. Um, it does a. I know, I know. Matt almost had his ski chalet ready for you, but no, never mind. Um,
We're in the barn this time.
we're in the barn. Um, but like it does this great job of tackling issues that are going on in the real world while also
Hmm.
providing an escape.
Yes.
Um, and that's one of the reasons why I've always gravitated towards science fiction. That's one of the reasons why I've always gravitated towards fantasy. It's because of these. When are you guys coming to Chicago to do live streams in person? Oh, Matt, wouldn't that be fun?
That would be cool.
Oh, wouldn't that be fun?
BRB getting into my car.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Pick me up along the way. We'll drive the what, 12 hours or so?
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But
Oh
no, that
yeah,
would.
yeah. We can fly for free. If we can fly for free, I'll hook you up, bro.
Okay, I'm in. Because I work remote, so I wouldn't
Yeah.
even need to take PTO. I could just do
I
like a
got all the
workcation
gear.
at an Airbnb or
LFG.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't talk about Texas. We don't talk about Texas. No, I'm
Just
kidding, John. I'm kidding. Scarif Con. I would love to do Scarif Con with you, Ro. I think that that would be a lot of fun.
Scarif Con?
Scarif Con 5. It's like their mini Star Wars nerd convention in Chicago.
Ooh.
Yeah, I want to go one of these years. I can't this year because I've got a lot going on this year.
Hmm. I hear you.
Between a Disney trip that I hadn't really planned, um, but
That's
I'm
how.
really happy with.
Mm, that's how this LARP in Kentucky ended up happening
Yeah,
for me. I jumped on a live stream and it was like, there's gonna be some big name TikTokers there. Screw it, let's go.
yeah, yeah,
you know.
exactly. Between that and debauchery ensues. I don't know if the missus wants to hear about debauchery. So Rose trying to get Matt
No,
and I
no,
to go
the
to
lightsabers are
Chicago.
used for fighting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The lightsabers are used for fighting. Um, so Rose trying to get Matt and I to go to Chicago and like for Scarif Con, and he says debauchery ensues, and I'm like, we don't want to talk about that. Like that is a Bruno level subject that we do not talk about. And yes, I made a Disney reference. You're welcome, internet. Um, God, do people still talk about Bruno? Like,
I forgot what Bruno was. I'm gonna be completely honest with you.
yeah, yeah. What was that, Matt?
I said I forgot what Bruno was, to be completely honest with you.
He's the character in Encanto.
I haven't seen Encanto yet. That's why.
Oh, dude, it's great. It's
Yeah,
such a
I've
great movie.
heard it's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. His so
Sounds like a night for Fennec.
it sounds like a night for Fennec Shan. Debauchery with Boba Fett and Black Chrysanthemum in
I mean,
Jabba's
was
palace.
I the only one shipping Boba and Fennec? I mean,
A lot of people were shipping Boba and Fennec. A
yeah,
lot of people.
like mercenary warlord power couple.
There
I
was
mean,
there was also like some people that were shipping her and Din at one point. And I was like, no, her and Mando, no, no. Inside joke that is rated very not G.
all I'm going to say about Fennec is that I hope to God I have at least half the fitness level that Ming Na Wen does when I get to her age.
She
Like,
is fit at her
like,
age.
oh my God, you
She
know?
is I mean, I will say this. She looks great for her age. She
Mhm.
absolutely does. It would have been cool to meet her at AwesomeCon a couple of years ago, but then she
Yeah,
canceled.
it happens.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I don't like that ship. I see it more like siblings. Yeah, I talked
I
about them
ship
kind of
her and
being more like siblings. I
Amanda said
ship
I
her
ship
and
her and the biker chick.
I ship her. Hey, hey, Go Vesper Rangers are amazing. Okay, I will die on that hill.
Go Vesper Ranger.
That's exactly what they were. They were Go Vesper Rangers.
Yeah, I enjoyed them, but it was interesting. And it's interesting too because like kind of on that subject, a lot of people were like, you
You
know,
would, Amanda.
a lot of people were looking at those. It was just like, why aren't they all drab and covered in sand? It's like, well, I imagine gangs in Star Wars move around, you know.
Yeah.
So who's to say they weren't just
Vesper Rangers spinoff when?
That's where they debut Adult Omega,
Oh yeah. Oh dude, that would be awesome.
right? Like,
That would be awesome. She just like takes over the gang like Tommy Oliver style from like Power Rangers.
and they're all like cybernetically enhanced to the point where they're like just like straight like murder machines or something.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, but you kind of have to do like the great like Rangers theme song like Shift
Mm.
into Turbo. Shift into turbo,
Dave,
mighty
Dave
machines
Filoni,
go.
if you're watching, screen credit.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. We'll write the pilot.
Right? You
Vesper
work in
Ranger and Mini Batcher team up.
Well, I was gonna say you work in the airline industry. The pilot should be easy.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Ah, hey, puns. Vesper Rangers to the theme of Rescue Rangers? No, no. You gotta go a Power Rangers theme if you do Vesper Rangers.
Maybe a
Exactly.
fusion of
Go
both.
Vesper Rangers. Do 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 do.
Just ham up the early '90s Saturday morning cartoon opening.
Oh yeah, like if anything, like now I'm thinking we need like a Black Chrysanthemum vigilante show with the Darkwing Duck theme. We're writing these ourselves, Matt. Like
I mean, yeah, we
yeah,
have the ability.
we do, we
We have
do.
the technology.
We have the technology. We can rebuild. Which Power Rangers? I'm talking Mighty Morphin. I'm talking Zeo. I'm talking Turbo. I'm talking like Lost Galaxy in space. Like I'm
Mighty
talking
Morphin
about
was
all of
great.
them. Mighty Morphin is great.
Yeah.
Um, the comics run was amazing. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, like Vesper Rangers. Yeah, let's do it. Anyway, back to Adult Omega because we kind of went off on another tangent. She did look like Mercy from Overwatch.
Oh
Did
my,
you notice that?
oh my God! Not until you just said it.
Yeah. Yeah. I expected her to do just a mass heal right there on Pabu.
Crosshair just gets his hand back,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Tech comes back from the dead,
Yeah, yeah. Tech just walks up on the beach like, what did I miss, guys?
He was like, is the fighting still over, or is it still going on?
Is that asshole Saw Gerrera still around? I have a few choice words to say to him.
Where's he at? I'm gonna hack his systems.
Yeah, where is he?
Just put the
He's
cantina theme on repeat forever.
just in his little cave on Jeddah. It's happening again.
It's like, no.
Actually, no. Tech is the Boar Gullet
Yes.
from Rogue One. Boar Gullet.
Uh, oh
Tech
goodness.
resurrected, but she looked like Mercy from Overwatch. And I'm not talking
Yeah.
like Overwatch 2. I'm talking Overwatch 1, like OG Overwatch.
I'm looking it up now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. God. Yeah, Adult Omega, aka Mercy. Um so what would that make Wrecker Reinhardt?
Reinhardt? I haven't played Overwatch, so
Oh, okay. Okay.
I was a Halo Infinite guy until Managed Democracy came along, and now it's da-da-da-da.
you, you and your managed democracy.
Freedom never sleeps. The
Yeah.
satire is just beautiful.
Speaking of that, showed one of my coworkers the opening to Helldivers because I was like, now that I got a PS5, I'm like, I kind of want to get this now. Um, like I showed him the opening cinematic, and it's the one of like the guy on the street, like his wife and kid gets eaten by the bug.
Yeah.
He's like, oh my god, what's happening? And then he's like, does this look familiar?
You could be next.
You
That
could
is.
be. It's so stupid.
It's so great.
It is. It is. Like it's literally Starship Troopers the video game.
Yes. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
take Starship Troopers, throw in a little bit of ODST mechanics, and it's basically yeah.
So
You know,
speaking of Helldivers 2, I did see the Clone Wars mod
there's a Clone Wars mod.
where like all the armor is clone armor, and then
Ah.
the evacuation ship or the drop ship is a Republic gunship.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to show you the link. Like
Yeah.
once I see it again, I'll have to show it to you. But I was like, this kind of makes me want to just play this version of Helldivers.
Yeah, right.
Um,
Because I was a Battlefront One guy back in high
oh, me
school,
too.
and it was
Me too.
just oof, being able to play as clones and
Hmm.
all that fun
Did
stuff.
did you get the remaster that came
No,
out?
I haven't
Okay.
yet. So,
Uh, I picked it up. It's
mm,
it's all right. It's fun for nostalgia reasons.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of that stuff. It's like it's more fun in nostalgia brain than it is
Yeah.
actually going back and replaying it. Because like
Yeah.
I I've I tried to go back to Skyrim a couple of times, and I was just like I couldn't, you know.
Arc Troopers scene from Clone Wars 2003, but it's Helldivers 2. No, I'll have to take a look at that.
What?
I'll have to take a look at that, John. Post it in the Discord. I'll look at it later.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but like, I mean, it's all right. Anyway, let's finish up Bad Batch and then we can goof off for a few more minutes and then we'll close it up. Um, the last character I really want to talk about is Hunter because I just think that Hunter had one of the best stories of the entire show.
Yeah.
I'm not discrediting Wrecker. Wrecker is my boy, but Wrecker's story arc was pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Yeah. He's the
He
guy
was
that hits things.
Yeah, and he was very comic relief heavy.
Yes.
I will say I did love when his activation chip got triggered. Um, because like that to me was just awesome. Um,
I I forget was that the Order 66 chip?
yeah, it was the Order 66 chip, and they were trying to remove it
Mm.
when they
Yeah.
were on uh God, I'm blanking on the planet. It was in Jedi Fallen Order. Um, it wasn't
Uh,
Bakara. It started with a B. Anyway, um, yeah, like that was pretty much Wrecker's story, and then I just loved when he was fighting giant monsters because
Mhm.
that was just fun.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but Hunter's story was great because he was so lost with who he was, like when you first meet him. Um, because like all of them, all they've ever known is being soldiers.
Right.
And then he's like, well, now I have to take care of a kid, and now I have to,
Yeah.
still do this and still do that. And
Even in if the situation's not ideal, there was a certain comfort in the certainty of, you know, they're the irregulars amongst
hmm
the clone army, and they're here, the rest of the clones are over there, and
hmm
that's it.
yeah,
It's not comfortable, but it created a framework for them to operate in. And
hmm
once you have the transition into the empire, it really forces them to start like making their own decisions and thinking on
yeah,
their own more so than they were as Task Force 99.
yeah, yeah. And I just found it interesting. Like one of my favorite episodes early in the show is the one where they crash and they have to repair the ship, and like the monster takes the power converter,
Yeah.
um and like all that monster does is like feed on energy. but
Yeah.
but like Hunter gets knocked out, and then like Omega has to step up and
Hmm.
like save the day. And like just seeing Hunter teaching Omega like that early in the show was just really cool. um and then she's the one or he's the one that she gravitates the most towards for like the first half of the series. And
Right.
then like once she meets Crosshair and like starts spending time with Crosshair, she really starts gravitating towards Crosshair because Crosshair is the one that needs to come back. And
Right.
it kind of felt like Luke with Vader, how like Luke felt like he was the only one to bring Vader back. Like
Hmm.
Omega felt like she was the only one that could bring Crosshair back.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and it was a very cool kind of going back to our earlier conversation about the themes of redemption within Star
Yeah.
Wars,
Yeah.
to have Crosshair kind of be set up as
Mhm.
you know, the black sheep amongst black sheep, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and then to find his way back and to,
Mhm.
you know, even show genuine empathy to the levels
Yeah.
of his fellow batchers was just cool.
Yeah, and that's him with Hunter. Like Hunter does that, but even Hunter goes on like a bit of an emotional journey because halfway through the series, he's doing whatever it takes to survive, even if it
Right.
is morally gray.
Mhm. Yep.
And people question him about that too. And Hunter just says like I have to do this. Like this is the
Right.
only way to survive at this point.
Right.
Um And then it isn't until Hunter loses everything that, he realizes he's been going about it the wrong way and that he needs to go back to his roots.
Right. Right. Because the thing is, the clones were trained to be soldiers,
Yeah.
and there's only the you're not like the clones weren't designed to be anything else.
hmm
And I think that like in Andor, how you see like a clone, in his old armor with his hair all disheveled with a
That was in Kenobi.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Kenobi.
yeah.
But
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
no, 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 you're good, but you're
Yeah.
right though. That was Kenobi.
Yeah.
I'm getting my Star Wars
Uh,
crossed.
it's a lot. Yeah, I get it
Yeah.
confused sometimes too.
And I love that it's a lot because
hmm
growing up we had the OG trilogy.
And then we had the prequels, and we had the old EU, and that
Mm,
was about it. And now we
like
have all of this.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like if you don't like a specific style of Star Wars content, there's
hmm
going to be something that fits your niche now, which is
Oh yeah.
it's just it's fantastic. I think
hmm
it's great. My camera keeps blurring in and out. I'm gonna have to fix
No,
that
you're
on the
good,
live.
man. I didn't really see that, but you're
Yeah.
good. Um,
Ooh,
but yeah, I mean, what a hell of a show, man. What a hell of a
seriously.
show. The way, I mean, thank you, everybody from the Bad Batch. Like that was awesome. I mean, D. Bradley Baker was incredible. Michelle Ang as Omega was beautifully done. She
Hmm.
was fantastic as Omega. Just everybody was absolutely fantastic. Like I said, Jimmy Simpson as Hemlock. Oh my
Hemlock was
gosh,
such a good villain.
he
Like,
really was.
I do wish that we learned a little bit more about Emery though, because
Yeah, me too.
like Omega was set up as like, you know, my impression, and this could just be me not being super knowledgeable about the clones, but
Hmm.
my impression of Omega was that she was the only female clone taken from Jango Fett's DNA sample.
Uh,
And
no.
okay.
Yeah. Um, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, 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 no. I mean,
Yeah.
I want to know, you know?
So yeah, Emery's one.
Hmm.
And then you have Omega. There was actually a trans clone
Oh,
in
really?
one of the Padme novels, and her
Cool.
name was Sister.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, so like
Interesting.
there was a trans clone, and I believe there were other female clones because there's another one. It's the other doctor that kind of looks like Emery as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, she was a clone too?
She kind of looked like a clone, but it was, like, kinda hard to tell because, like,
Right.
most of the scenes that she's in, it's pretty dark.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the my kind of my head canon, I guess, was that um, Emery was a clone, but a clone that had been like created by like the team that Hemlock now oversees. You know,
Mhm.
like
I mean, that makes sense too.
yeah, but I mean at the same time, you know, it wouldn't really pan out in the long run because there wouldn't have been enough time for her to mature to adulthood, even
No.
with the rapid accelerating that the
Yeah.
clones have. So.
Yeah, even with the accelerated aging, yeah, she still would have been just, like, maybe a year or 2 older than Omega, like, she wouldn't have
Mhm.
been as old as she was. Um, but maybe they also realized that they needed, like, other clones that weren't soldiers that could do, like, the scientific stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
Because we've also had other clones in Clone Wars that were like Republic intelligence officers or bridge officers
Mhm.
on the cruisers and stuff
Right.
like that. So or the
Seeing the
capital
clone
ships.
commandos was pretty cool too.
That made my Republic Commando happy or heart so happy.
Yeah.
Seeing the clone commandos. Like I loved seeing them. I wish we could have gotten more from them. Like it would have been cool for them to like
Mhm.
turn on like Hemlock and like the others,
Yeah.
um but you know what? Give me an Imperial Commando spinoff. Like I'd
Right.
be all down for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
um yeah, I mean Star Wars animation, man, like
Mhm.
nothing like it.
You
All of
know.
Delta Squad should have been there. Scorch was done so dirty. Yeah, Scorch was done dirty.
Yeah. That was one thing that I haven't played Republic Commando, but I've always heard that like the the commandos were supposed to be like noble, bright, above and beyond like even the regular clones.
Yeah.
Could be wrong about that, but
No, so they were kind of like they're kind of like what the Bad Batch is now.
mhm, right.
But like without like all of the enhancements, like they weren't like defective.
Right.
There's 4 or 5 novels. Yeah, there's 5 Commando novels from what is now Legends.
Mhm,
And like you see them like pretty much pretty intelligent and everything.
right.
One of them ends up hooking up with a Jedi, and she gets
Interesting.
pregnant. And then like the Order 66 novel has him dealing with the fact that she's pregnant and he's gonna have to kill her.
Right.
I won't give it away. Read the book if you want to.
That's
Uh,
intense.
but it was interesting. Yeah, I just wanted more Scorch, honestly.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think Scorch was in the D Squad story arc in Clone Wars.
I think so.
I think so. Let me take a look. Let me see here. Scorch. Oh no. He was no, he was actually the one that was in charge of Hemlock's army. Or Hemlock's no.
What was Gregor? John's saying it was Gregor.
Gregor? Was that Gregor that was the lead commando?
I don't think so, because we see Gregor in Rebels, don't we?
Yeah, Gregor's in Rebels.
Yeah. Unless Rex rescues him after Bad Batch.
Scorch served in the Advanced Science Division under Dr. Royce Hemlock, leading the Imperial Royal Guard Commandos as a clone commander.
Hmm.
Uh,
So I will.
Scorch escaped Hemlock. Or no.
Oh.
Oh no, Scorch was shot multiple times in the chest. No, never mind. Scorch died. Yeah, Scorch died. Yeah, because he's shot on the platform.
Right. Yeah, it's that was the one thing that kind of stuck. The only thing that stuck out to me as a little odd was just the the clone commandos just like mindlessly following,
Yeah,
lockstep with the Empire. That struck me as a little weird. But
yeah,
honestly, like if that's the worst thing about Bad Batch, then Bad Batch is doing really dang well.
yeah. I agree. I totally agree. Um, yeah. What a hell of a ride, man.
Seriously, it was just like I was on the edge of my seat for that finale. It was just
Hmm.
amazing.
Yeah, I just I'm gonna miss it. I really
Mhm.
am. I'm just gonna absolutely miss it. It was
Yeah,
just it hit at the perfect time, like I said. So
yeah. Well, because it gave us kind of a Clone Wars esque
mhm,
animated show after Clone Wars had concluded, after Rebels had concluded.
yeah.
So be interesting to see what they come up with next. You know,
And it actually it really was a good bridge between Clone Wars and Rebels. Like it's a really
it
good bridge between the
really
two.
was like
Um
I
yeah.
loved seeing the mix of like transitionary Imperial tech
Hmm.
and Republic gunships, and then you see like in the end you see Tarkin's Star Destroyer leading a couple of Venator Star
Yeah.
Destroyers, and like so like for my stuff, like what I do, a lot of my stuff includes research into the Roman era,
Hmm.
and the particular period that my group looks into is a transitionary period in the first century.
Hmm.
So it's like seeing that play out in in a sci-fi context of a mix of old tech and new tech together because they're in the process of transitioning over.
Hmm.
That's just really cool to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I thought it was very well done. Um anything else?
I I think we've covered just about everything,
Mhm.
tangents and all.
Yeah. Tangents and all. It was fun. The
Yeah.
tangents were fun. The
Oh
tangents
yeah.
were a lot
Yeah,
of
no,
fun.
they were great. Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of the tangents that I do with Leah and Faye on the
Yeah.
live show sometimes. Especially like when I was talking about there's this character in the most recent novel called The Living Force.
Hmm.
And he's called the Lobber, and every time I was reading him, I was just thinking the boulder from Last Airbender. Like the Lobber is having conflicted feelings. Um,
There are no clones in Bossing Say.
there are no clones in Bossing Say. The Lobber. Um,
Ah, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I could talk about the Lobber all day.
Hmm.
Um, excellent discussion. Love the tangents. Yeah, we love the tangents too. That's why we do it. You know.
They were indeed great fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's either that or you get more Shrek Revenge of the Sith quotes.
Oh God, I remember that from last
Leah
time.
mentioned, of course, Leah. Of course, I will always mention you. I will always mention you, Leah. But yeah. I mean, the Shrek quotes were great that night. We were in rare form that night, man.
Yeah, that
Oh
was
man.
that was a that was a peak moment for us, for
Oh,
for
that
sure.
was
Yeah.
that was great. Oh, I miss it. I miss it.
Well, hey, luckily there's a YouTube channel I know of that's recording these lives and posting them. So
Yeah, there we go. There we go. I wonder who runs that thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
don't know,
don't
right?
know. I
Seems like a
don't
pretty
know who
cool
does that.
dude.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't
yeah.
know, man. Oh, God. I'm just gonna say. I was gonna say something funny. This is so fun. I can't wait for the next live show. It's nice to see you, Matt, for the first time. Yeah,
Likewise,
John, it's great
likewise.
to have you here, man. It's great. Oh, God, I was gonna say something and I forgot what it was, and now it's gonna like haunt me for the rest of the night. And
You're gonna remember it like 5 seconds after we killed the live. I promise.
oh, probably. It
Yeah.
had something to do with oh, it was that night where we were just in rare form and just peak, man. It was just I mean, I think we broke both Faye and Alex that night. Like, I think we broke both of them. It was great.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Oh, no, I was gonna say, I guess it's time for you to go back to spreading managed democracy, in the
Go,
galaxy.
so I've actually my project once we get off here is going to be there we go. That that shit there we go. That shield screw
Mhm.
it. I'm turning around. That it is so I'm building a Viking shield that's going to be like LARP worthy, so it's going to be covered in foam. Because this LARP I'm going to in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be in the quote unquote Viking camp, and it's like you know, um, I have 10th century Byzantine Empire gear, but it fits in well enough with like the camps that they have with the Viking guys. So
Yeah.
uh, once we get off here, I'm going to be gluing the core for that and cutting out foam. So
You
it's
you
going
know
to be
what
fun.
you know what I'm gonna do once we get off here?
Sleep.
Yeah, because I gotta be up at 3:30 tomorrow morning
You
for
gotta
work.
be up at 3:30.
I
My
work at 4:45 tomorrow morning.
my friend, you must get some sleep.
I'll be all right. It's nothing that a little Baja Blast can't fix or something
Yeah.
in the morning. Yeah.
I saw this meme where it was just like, we need to stop inventing things. Science peaked at Baja Blast. You can't
It
invent
really did.
you can't invent Baja Blast again, so there's no point.
Dude, the Baja 20th anniversary stuff is actually really good. Like they have
It's
like a
really
mango lemonade. It's good.
see. I've my sugar sensitivity has gone up since
I
I got
totally
into my
understand.
30s, so I have switched to Monster Ultra is my vice of
Oh,
choice,
there
and
you go.
you know it is. I joke that being ADHD, I joke that it's poor man's Adderall. So
No, it really is. As
yeah,
one ADHD guy to
yeah,
another.
right. The tangents are explained.
This is why we're comedy team.
Yes, it makes sense.
You
Can
know
you
what I
imagine?
was go ahead.
I was like, can you imagine how boring we'd be otherwise? No, I'm
Oh
kidding. I'm
my gosh. You
joking.
know what I was about to call this episode? I was about to call this episode Boys Night on the Beacon.
We should get John on here for the next one and call it that.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
Get
No,
Scarif on.
oh my god, Row, join us for the next one. It'd be great.
Yeah,
Boys Night on the Beacon. We need to do it. We need to do it. It'd be
I'm down
great.
for it.
It would be
So
so funny.
the next Saturday, I'm going to be at my Fort Loudon, Pennsylvania for a
Yeah.
reenactment,
Yep.
and then the Saturday after that, I'll
Guys
be
night.
in Kentucky. But
Yeah. We'll make it
June,
happen.
yeah, June 1st onwards, I'm free.
Oh yeah, no, we'll totally do that in June. Yeah. Yeah, also, real quick before we go, happy Mother's Day to all of the moms in our community. Really, seriously. I should have kicked the show off with this, but happy Mother's Day, happy Fur Mother's Day, happy all of it, like seriously, happy Mother's
Mm,
Day. So, from all of us
100%.
here on the Beacon, even if it is guys' night on the Beacon. Um, yeah. So that's it. I'm gonna let you get to your shield. I'm gonna go to bed.
Yeah, go get some
Um,
rest.
yeah, I will. To the community, thank you. It was a fun night. I hope that you had as much fun as we had this evening. Yeah, that's it for us. May the force be with you. May you always fight for light and life. And just remember at the end of the day, we're all the Republic. Next week we continue Acolyte, Road to the Acolyte. So get ready for that. Also, yeah, join us, Matt. Join us for the show after the Acolyte premieres because we'll have you on to talk Acolyte.
Which what day will that be?
So the Acolyte premieres the 4th of June. So we'll be on the 8th. Oh no,
I'm in.
yeah. So
I'm
we'll
in.
be on the
Whenever
8th.
it is, I'm in.
Yeah. Cool. All right, that's it. Okay, we're going. Bye.